I could answer this question by pointing to the inflation
Hello, welcome to Financial Stockholm.
forecasters
Today
or
is
from Secret
Monday, December 12th,
which broadly
2022,
show
and I'm
significant
Christopher Crystal. And these are our thoughts on what we're seeing in the Swedish press or news, Scandinavian over the weekend, and what's of interest. So we had our Swedish political parties debating and discussing the current state of affairs in Sweden, which of course focuses on the energy cost. We're seeing energy prices of electricity at record levels, and this will impact significantly our society, and has already shown a lot of stress and press on the Swedish citizen. You have electricity prices for the average household costing anywhere as much as 3,000 to 4,000 euro equivalent or more per month, and that's on top of the mortgage cost, and on top of the food cost, and on top of the living cost. This was debated by the political parties. So the Swedish Democrats are not part of the government right now, and they're the ones, quote unquote, that are pushing for the nuclear. You also have the Moderaterna pushing for the nuclear. The problem is that the Swedish Democrats, even if you look at this character Björn Söder, who is from the Gothenburg area, he's come out with some very, very kind of racist statements. I think would be the friendliest way or nicest way to put it. He's made some statements that are fairly significant and fairly racist about who's Swedish and who's not Swedish. Even though I have Swedish citizenship, I would not be Swedish in his eyes, and that's fine. But these are the people who are pushing for nuclear. So nuclear is not getting the real traction that it should, because you have to defend the monster to get across the positive element for society. So it makes it very unpopular. And then the Moderaterna party, which has been pushing more for the nuclear, had a debate with the former Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson, whose party was in charge for 8 years and shut down our nuclear plants and led us to this high cost price. And not to forget, the electricity grid price was negotiated under the Social Democrats. And you also had Moderaterna party involvement, but we're producing 115% of our electricity right now in Sweden, and yet we're paying record levels, and we're paying the highest levels in Europe, even though we're producing 115%. So we're selling it back to ourselves at the European cost in euros, and we have to hedge it back into Swedish. So we are paying at a significant loss to what we're producing. And this is going to the southern regions as a higher cost versus the northern regions where they produce more electricity. So we have a government that is also addressing the need of complying with ESG goals and saying we need to reduce carbon. But we're also relying heavily on LNG, so liquefied natural gas, and Europe is relying on LNG and coal. So these are two fossilized fuel products that they are now relying on for more of their energy. So they're going completely against what they're campaigning for, and that's having reduced emissions. And they're using the dirty coal to produce a lot of the energy, and they're using liquid natural gas to produce a lot of the energy as well. So two high carbon components to produce the electricity. So they're actually lying to you or not following through on what they're saying. Depends on how you want to interpret it. And it makes it very difficult. So even when you see announcements by the Mercedes saying that they're going to build cars in Poland, and this is on the back of Tesla producing cars in Germany and having issues with salary and employees and being able to produce in Germany, that you see Germany would also seem to have problems producing electric vehicles in Germany, because even though they already have a plant there with Volkswagen, they're going to Poland. And they're producing in Poland where they already have the batteries being produced, and it looks like they'll be producing the electric cars. Now, this is not too far away from the Baltic Pipe. So they get the energy from the Baltic Pipe, which is the pipeline from Norway into Germany, into Poland. And so it's questionable about how Germany is going to be really producing energy. And it's reflective of how they're not achieving the goals of what they say, using wind and solar, and not using nuclear. They shut down the one component that would reduce the carbon by the most, that would be the nuclear. And now they're turning back to fossil fuels to replace the energy they shut down with nuclear. And then you see Poland is the one where they're going to be making the electric vehicles. And this is on the back. Remember, Poland is producing 2 nuclear producer reactors in the next, that'll be online, I think, by 2030. And so other positive nuclear news we do see is that Amsterdam, which had originally proposed producing 2 nuclear reactors where they have the Borssele, not sure on the pronunciation, they will have 2 more nuclear reactors. That's the proposal. And they will be built or starting to build in 2028. So you have to have 6 years of surveys to figure out if you can produce more nuclear. Makes no sense. But this is, again, the EU. So in 2018, when you still had the natural gas production, you could have started your surveys. They didn't start. And now in 2022, 4 years later, you start the surveys to maybe start producing in 2028. They haven't said who's going to produce. They have not said who, when they will actually start or when the surveys will commence, but they have the possibility. So this is more sleight of hand by the European governments to stick to an ESG goal, but not really produce any real returns. And this comes on the back of some money laundering fraud scandal in Qatar, lobbying for the EU and lobbying for FIFA to have the championships. And you see that the progressive social democrats were the ones that were paid the most money. So Eva Kaili, who's either Greek or Italian or both, she was receiving quite a bit of money, and she is being relieved of her position. We'll see how the arrests go and see how this goes for Europe. But right now, the point is that you have an ESG goal. You don't have the commitment to actually achieving it. And we don't see really the ability to produce on it, nor do we see the ability for investment from companies being made. So the result of the debate was, it looks like it's going to be a very, very hard 6 years for Swedish citizens. And we have a lot of issues within Sweden concerning violence. We have more shooting deaths in Sweden than you have in our Scandinavian neighbors, and at a multifold level. So in Norway, Finland, Denmark, we have more shootings in Sweden than they do. And we're at multiple levels. And you have more shootings in one suburb of Stockholm than you do in London. So we have some real issues going on. We also have the news coming about the rhinovirus and what to do about that. We'll see if they'll lock us down again, or if they'll force more vaccinations. So in general right now, it's not a very good time in Sweden, and not really much to instill confidence. So we'll see what our government can do to kind of propel us forward. And in the meantime, remember, you can always make money. And if the market looks like it's going to go down, shorting is never a bad way to make money. You can also buy puts. Talk to your advisor, figure out your strategy. If you're going to go short term, long term, if you're going to go long the market, short the market, ask your advisor. And we should have a trading seminar coming up. So thank you very much, and good luck in the market.